everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Chanel if you're new here, and if you're watching this video, you've probably watched 100 others just like this, but I'm hoping that I'm going to offer you real insight and real help in this video. I'm a digital nomad living in Buenos Aires. I love this city so much that I sold everything that I had in New York and moved here. It's my favorite city in the whole entire world. Before I came to Buenos Aires for the very first time, I watched like 100 videos just like this one, and I made a list of things to do in Buenos Aires, but the one thing that I quickly found out was that I was not spending my time here in Buenos Aires productively. One day I would be in this neighborhood, the next day I would go to the next neighborhood, and then on the third day I would want to do something on my list because I had a list. I had a to-do list, I had things I wanted to do and see and experience here in Buenos Aires. But on the third day, I would just realize that I would go back to the neighborhood I was just in like 2 days prior, and I spent my whole first time in Buenos Aires here just doing that, just like walking around and going back and forth, because I really didn't know how close a lot of these things were to one another. So I'm here to help you, and I'm hoping that this video will provide you insights and will help make your trip here in Buenos Aires so productive. I'm gonna break up this video by neighborhood. So I'm gonna talk about a neighborhood, and I'm gonna talk about different things you can do in that neighborhood and how close these things are to one another. So for example, if you go to La Casa Rosada, which is the first neighborhood I'm going to talk about, I'm going to list a few things you can do that are so close to La Casa Rosada, and you can just kind of check these things off your list, and hopefully this will be the perfect and ultimate Buenos Aires planning guide for you in this new year. So let's begin. If you've researched anything about Buenos Aires, you know you have to see the Pink House. And the Pink House is in Plaza de Mayo, so if you're going to the Pink House, you're gonna cross off Plaza de Mayo on your list. But there are several things to do around Plaza de Mayo that a lot of the YouTube videos I've watched and a lot of the blogs that I've read have not mentioned. So I'm gonna lay it out for you. There's a lot in this section, so if you wanna write stuff down, I highly recommend. So the first thing would be if you go to Plaza de Mayo on a Sunday, there is this very big market. It's a flea market. It's called the San Telmo market. This market is huge. If you're looking to get souvenirs, I highly recommend going here. However though, once you go to this market, it's literally right next to Plaza de Mayo. You're gonna walk down the street and it's gonna take you like maybe 2 hours, if not more, to actually walk through and look at things and buy things. It's very crowded. So if you wanna go, I recommend go at like 10 a.m. It's right next to Plaza de Mayo. If you go on a Sunday, you cannot miss it. So that's one thing to do. However though, if you go down the street, you're not coming back. You're just gonna keep going and going and going, and it's gonna lead you to a different area. And that's okay if that's what you wanna do, but like don't plan on going to this market and then coming back to Plaza de Mayo. The next thing that you can do that a lot of people don't realize is the fact that Puerto Madero is right behind Casa Rosada, the Pink House. So if you walk like 10 minutes from Casa Rosada to Puerto Madero, you are going to find Puerto Madero, which is like a very modern, expensive but nice place. It's right on the waterfront. It's beautiful. It has this bridge that's called Puente de la Mujer, which is like the women's bridge. Everything about it is very nice. I recommend that if you go to Puerto Madero, you go on like a kind of nicer day, because walking along the waterfront just makes it that much nicer. If you're looking for a place to eat, Puerto Madero offers so many options. So that is like 10 minutes behind Casa Rosada. If you do that, you can easily come back to Casa Rosada, but in Puerto Madero, you're gonna walk a lot. Like you could spend easily like 2 or 3 hours just walking in Puerto Madero, plus if you want to eat on top of that. However though, if you go back to Casa Rosada, again, there's another thing that you can do that people do not mention. It's the fact that you can walk like 10 more minutes to Calle Florida. And Calle Florida is the street that's infamously known for the people shouting cambio, cambio, cambio. So if you come with US dollars, like $100 bill, and you want to exchange that into pesos, you can do that there. A lot of people say it's safe. I've personally never done it. On a side note, I do use Western Union, and I just feel more safer using that, and I like that I can do it from my phone from the app. But that's like a side note. But if you want to have the real experience of changing your money with the cambio, cambio, cambio people, you'll be able to do that successfully on Calle Florida. On Calle Florida as well, there is this very famous mall. It's called Galerías Pacifico. It's beautiful. The inside of it is stunning. There are, again, really nice places to eat in there, and you can do some shopping if you want to do some shopping. So that's Calle Florida with the famous mall. And walking in Calle Florida, again, there's so many different shops. So if you're in a shopping mood, you'll be able to find a few things that you like. It's mostly clothes though. So if you're looking for clothes, you may want to buy something from there. And I do have two more things that are really close to Plaza de Mayo. The first thing, again, kind of like how I mentioned with the San Telmo Market, it's right next to Plaza de Mayo. There is this very famous cathedral. It is where the Pope used to preach at in Buenos Aires because he's from Argentina. This church that you can go to, it's a cathedral, and it's very pretty on the inside. I think it's open like 24/7 and you can just walk in there. A lot of tourists walk in there just to kind of roam around and come back. I don't remember the name of it, so I'll put it here. And finally, a lot of people don't know this, but you can indeed go to Obelisco if you walk 10 minutes from Plaza de Mayo. The walk from Plaza de Mayo to Obelisco is a very tall monument that's like iconic in Buenos Aires. If you walk like 10 minutes, it's gonna lead you directly to Obelisco. Right in front of Obelisco, there's this very cute BA grass sign that a lot of tourists go to take a photo. And Obelisco has like this huge avenue. I think the avenue that Obelisco sits on is the biggest in the world. And again, if you're looking for something to eat, Obelisco has so many options from like nicer restaurants to fast food if you just want something quick. So that's what I have to offer to you for Plaza de Mayo. All of these things are within like a 10-minute walking radius. You can easily cross them off your list. However, though, I would not plan that you plan to do this all in one day. It will take you so much time to just walk in Puerto Madero or in the San Telmo market, for example. I would recommend that if you want to do all of these things, plan for at least like 2 days, maybe 3, because you're going to spend a lot of time walking. But if you're feeling like you want to do it all and conquer everything here in one day, you can, but you're going to be really tired. The next neighborhood that we're going to talk about is Recoleta. Recoleta is like my favorite neighborhood in Buenos Aires. The architecture in Recoleta is absolutely stunning. I adore it. It's so clean. There's so many things to do. And I'm going to talk about Recoleta as what you can do step by step from the moment you get off the subway, because I love Recoleta so much. So I'm here to help. If you take the H line, the H Subte line, I recommend that you go all the way to Facultad de Derecho. Facultad de Derecho is the very last line on the H. I recommend this because as soon as you get off this subway stop right here, you'll be able to walk like in a straight line and do all of these things. You'll be making your time in Recoleta very productive, and you'll just have a lot more fun, I think, that way, because you get to see so much from a different angle. So let's say you get off at Facultad de Derecho. You're gonna walk and immediately you're going to see Facultad de Derecho, which is like their law school here. It's big, it's iconic, it's huge. If you keep walking after that, you're going to see this bridge. It's a very nice painted bridge, and I say painted because if you go there and it's rainy, it's gonna be a little bit slippery. So just know that I warned you. If you go on the bridge, a lot of people take photos. This is a very nice background if you want like a very nice photo. After the bridge, you may see some people like selling some handcrafted things. But if you keep walking a little bit more, you're going to see El Museo de Bellas Artes, which is like the beautiful arts museum. It's a big, again, pink building. And also the museum has a lot of great works of art, and it's free, so have fun. The next thing that you can do after the museum is that, again, if you go on a weekend, you are going to find the Recoleta Market. Now, the Recoleta Market is on Saturday and Sunday. It says it starts at like 10 or 11, but really don't get there until like 12 or 1 o'clock because people take some time setting up. And if you prefer walking around and you want to do some souvenir shopping in a less crowded place, I highly recommend going to the Recoleta Market. There's still a lot of shops to choose from. Everything there is very nice. People do an excellent job at crafting these things, and it's just a little bit less hectic than the San Telmo Market that I told you about before, because the San Telmo Market, it's like a very short, narrow street, and the Recoleta Market, it's more open. And if you just like having a more open space, or if you like being able to just kind of sit and take your time and enjoy the fresh air, especially if you have a pet and if you can only do, let's say, San Telmo Market or Recoleta, I would say Recoleta because it's just more open area. After the Recoleta market, if you go on a Saturday, if you walk up like 5 minutes more, you are going to find the cultural center of Recoleta. Again, it's a very nice painted building. You can go in, it's for free. And this area, it's like my favorite thing in Buenos Aires. I've talked to people here who live in Buenos Aires, who were born in Buenos Aires, and they've never been here, which just surprises me because this area, it's like so pretty to me. It's so unique. It has a co-working space, it has a dance studio. You'll see people like hanging out or having a meeting or eating their lunch there. It's so unique. I recommend that you go in because it's unforgettable. And people have told me in my comments, I haven't seen it yet, but if you go on the cultural center's balcony during the sunset time, you will get the best sunset, from what I've heard, in Buenos Aires. I haven't tried it yet, but if you're looking for something to do, if you go at sunset hour, give it a try. And if you just walk a little bit more, right next to the cultural center is the Recoleta Cemetery. I just went there a few weeks ago and I think I paid like 3,000 pesos just to get in. And a lot of people go to the cemetery because they have a lot of tombs, but the most famous tomb is Eva Perón's tomb. And again, that's another thing to cross off your list. And a lot of people like the cemetery. For me, it's kind of creeps me out a little bit because it is a cemetery, but like I went with my boyfriend and he absolutely loved it. So that's what we did. So out of everything that I just mentioned, from getting off the subway station at Facultad de Derecho to going to the cemetery, it's like a 10-minute walk. So all of these things are very close together. The next thing that I'm going to mention is not that close to all of these other things, but if you want to do it, feel free to. It is the National Library. I think from the cemetery to the National Library, it's going to take you maybe 15 minutes to walk there. The architecture, it's very unique. However, though, if you want to go in the library, you need your passport to be able to get in. It's really not worth it if you don't want to bring your passport with you. Just looking at it from the outside, to me, is enough. And another thing that is very far off from this area that I have to mention because it again is one of my favorite things to do in Recoleta is to go to El Ateneo. Like, this place isn't even close to all of these other things that I just mentioned, but you have to go to El Ateneo. It's the famous bookstore. It was previously an opera house. It is so stunning. It's so beautiful. There is just so many things to indulge yourself in El Ateneo. It is absolutely stunning. In person is so much better than any of the videos or photos you will see online. So please make sure you go and see that. It's a must-see here in Buenos Aires. So those are the two areas that I have the most things to offer for you to do, because I just think there's so many things to do in these two areas alone. Like, you could spend probably your whole entire trip here in Buenos Aires just exploring those two neighborhoods. But the next one I am going to mention is Palermo. Now, a lot of people love Palermo. It's not my favorite neighborhood just because for me, I like being in a neighborhood where I feel like it's authentic. But with Palermo, there is two different Palermos. It's like broken up into two parts, Palermo Soho, Palermo Hollywood. To me, they're the same thing. It's just that Palermo is so big, you're going to see two different parts of Palermo. But a lot of expats and a lot of foreigners go here and stay in this neighborhood. If you want to do that, and if you want like a closer community of like expats and foreigners, I would recommend, like, if you want to make some friends, to maybe stay in this area. In Palermo, I'm going to give a few things as if you got off the subway station. It's the D line if you got off at Plaza Italia. Plaza Italia is a subway station on the D line. It's the green line. If you get off at Plaza Italia, there is like the cutest zoo. It's called Eco Parque. It's free to get in. It's not open on Mondays. I have not mentioned this yet. If you're going to view or see any of these things that I mentioned, please research or do something to see if it's open, because I've been to so many of these different places on a Monday, and a lot of these things are closed on a Monday and Sunday. So just check to make sure that these things are open before you waste your time going to them and it's not open. But this one, Eco Parque, I know it's not open on a Monday, so don't go on a Monday. It's not really a zoo, but it feels like a zoo. So it has a lot of animals just like walking around. They'll walk in front of you. It's so unique. It's beautiful. They have a few cafes in there. It's free to go to. I highly recommend. It's adorable. So cute. It'll probably take you like an hour and a half to 2 hours to actually walk through the Eco Parque, the zoo. When you get out, there's a few things that you can do. One of the things to do, I think it's maybe like a 15-minute walk right on the other side of Eco Parque, is the fact that you can go to the planetarium. Buy your tickets online. This has been on my to-do list forever. In full transparency, I have not done it yet, but I really want to. But you can go to the planetarium, just buy your tickets online before. So that's one thing that you can do. And then there's also the Japanese garden that is like very close to the end of the Eco Parque. I want to say maybe it's like another 15 minutes in the opposite direction, but don't hold me to that. But again, the Japanese garden is beautiful. I've never experienced anything so similar to Japan as I did when I went to the Japanese garden, because I've never been to Japan. To me, it's stunning. It's so peaceful. They do have a restaurant if you want to eat there and eat like some authentic Japanese food. It is expensive, I won't lie to you, but to get in the Japanese garden, I just went a few weeks ago. It costed me like 600 pesos. If you see a line, do not be scared by the line. The people who do the tickets do it very, very quickly. I waited in what seemed to be a very long line, and I got through it within like maybe 10 minutes. And when I say a long line, I'm talking like maybe like 40 people in front of me, and the people at the ticket booth really did their thing. They got us through. So I recommend going to the Japanese garden, especially if you're like into that type of stuff. It is so beautiful. So if you were to get off at Plaza Italia, all these things that I just mentioned are like on this side. Now, if you were to walk on like the other side of Plaza Italia, or if you got off at Palermo, which is a subway stop right after Plaza Italia, you could walk to Plaza Serrano. This is a plaza in Palermo. On the weekends, they do have this flea market. But if you had to pick just a few things to do, or if you wanted to spend 1 or 2 days in Palermo, I would recommend to do these things. Another thing to mention is that Palermo has a good nightlife. From what I've heard, I'm not really into the nightlife stuff, but if you want to like go to a bar or a club or something, Palermo has a lot of nice options that you could go to if you're into that stuff. Another neighborhood that I'm going to mention, because I did not come here when I first visited Buenos Aires, and I really wish I did, because this is now one of my favorite neighborhoods in all of Buenos Aires, is Belgrano. Belgrano, it's like if you want to go to Belgrano, just go to the very last line of the D. The D is this green line that I'm talking about. You can get off at Congreso de Tucumán, which is the very, very last line, or the stop right before it, which is Juramento. You can get off at either of these, and it will bring you to like a very good place to walk around and be in Belgrano. If you get off at either of these stops, you are going to be right in this very big avenue. It has like a lot of stuff to buy. This avenue I go to a lot if I want to just buy a few household items or just weird things, or if I just want to shop a little bit, I'll go to Belgrano and I'll walk on this avenue. So the next thing that I have to mention in Belgrano that I did not go to my first time visiting Buenos Aires, and I cannot believe that I missed it, is Barrio Chino. Barrio Chino, it's like a 10 to 15 minute walk from either of these subway stations that I just mentioned, and it's so pretty, it's unique, it's colorful, and the food there is just incredible. I go here like maybe once a month, and there's a lot of shops, so if you want to buy like a few things, like we went a few weeks ago and we bought ramen for the house, and it was like this big thing of ramen, and we still have it. It's so good. You can buy so many like handcrafted things there too. The restaurants there are amazing, so I would definitely add Barrio Chino to your list. One of the things that I just recently did was I went to this pizza shop. It's called Togni's, and if you're looking for New York style pizza in Buenos Aires, I highly recommend. It is really, really good. It's very close to Barrio Chino. If you're just looking for something to try, I mentioned this because you guys in my comments have been telling me to try it for like literally months, and I can't believe I waited that long to try it. So if you're looking for New York style pizza in Buenos Aires, go to Togni's. It's very, very good. The last neighborhood that I'm going to talk about is La Boca. La Boca is a neighborhood that is very much geared for tourists. It's where you're going to find a lot of tango. It's where you're going to find the colorful houses. It's where you're going to find a lot of good food. It's where you're going to find a lot of souvenirs. So if you're looking to souvenir shop like all in one day, I recommend to go to La Boca. I have been to La Boca and I've taken a subway there, and I've been to La Boca and I've taken a bus there. I every time I go, I just buy so many things. So now when I go, I just take an Uber. So if you're one of those people who just like do not like being on a public transportation system with all of your bags, I would just recommend to take an Uber. And I never recommend anyone to take an Uber everywhere. I think the best way to explore the city is through the public transportation system. But for La Boca, I would say use an Uber if you're like me in that sense. Also, the big giant soccer stadium where La Boca Juniors play, and it's so big you can't miss it. You're gonna have really good food. If you're looking for some good food to try in Buenos Aires, I would say try choripan. It's so good, especially in La Boca area. I had the best choripan I ever ate in this area. And parrilla. Parrilla is very good too. It's like the meat, grilled meat, and the platter of meat. That's really good. I'm editing this video right now, and I just realized I only gave you guys 2 food items to try in Argentina, which was just so bad on my part. But other food items you have to try are the pizza here. It's so good. They have a specific type of pizza where they put onions on top of it. I'd say try it, give it a try. Don't let the description scare you too much. The ice cream here, it's like the best I've ever had in the whole entire world. You gotta try the empanadas. There are so many empanadas shops like all around. No matter where you go, you'll be able to find an empanada. Some other things that are really good are the media lunas. The media lunas are not croissants. Do not let that fool you. And I love getting the media lunas with ham and cheese in it, with jamón y queso. It is so good. The coffee here is excellent, so make sure you try the coffee here. They don't have a lot of iced coffees here, so if you're into that, especially if you come in the summer, like some shops are starting to get more iced coffees in them, but like a lot really mostly do hot coffees, so that's like a little bit of a bummer. And another thing you have to try is the milanesa. The milanesa comes in like different meat types, so you can get it with like chicken or beef or pork, and they even have some veggie options sometimes. I like getting the milanesa in a sandwich, but you can also get the milanesa with like different toppings on top, and you can get it with like a side or on top of fries too. And you have to try alfajores. Alfajores are like a chocolate cookie, and sometimes they have dulce de leche in the middle, and those are so good. A lot of people tell me the best alfajor is from Havana, and it's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. So make sure you try all these different food items in Argentina. A question I do get asked a lot is that if someone is a vegetarian or vegan, will they find food items here in Argentina? And I say yes. If you are a vegetarian or a vegan, you're gonna find a lot of vegan and vegetarian friendly options. I think this has become more and more popular as the years have gone on, and Argentina really has a lot of accommodating recipes, and even if like you want to adjust the recipe, they're very kind. So if you have a specific dietary restriction, just ask them. And I always do recommend, as another side note, to have Google Translate in your phone and download your native language, which may be English, and download Spanish so you can have it for offline viewing, because if you really don't know a lot of Spanish, or if you need some help expressing yourself, you could just type it in Google Translate and show them. And if you download both languages, you'll be able to do it even if you don't have service. So obviously there is so much to do and see in Buenos Aires, and this video only covered just a small amount of it, but these are some of my favorite things and some of my must things to do in Buenos Aires as well. There are a few things that I did not mention on this list. A few of those things are trying the Pizzeria Guerin, trying the ice cream at Cadore, which is like the famous ice cream shop. The ice cream here in Buenos Aires is just uncomparable. It is like the best in the world, and I say that as someone who has tried a lot of ice cream, but the ice cream here is literally uncomparable to anything else in the world. And I'm probably missing a few other things, but if by chance you have some options to recommend, leave them down in the comments down below. And if you're into Buenos Aires content, I would love for you to stick around, so feel free to subscribe and like this video. It helps out my channel a lot. And if you have any questions, leave them down below. I've been living in Buenos Aires for, as of now, 6 months. It's my favorite city in the whole entire world. I love sharing my experience here with you all. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for being here. I need some water. My AC's supposed to be on. I don't think it's on. Water break because I have been speaking for 20 minutes. Cute market. So this Japanese garden. My mouth is so dry. La Boca and Belgrano. Yay, Argentina.